Hey everyone, welcome to episode 2 of Life by Design by your host, me, Dr. Alex Tam. For those of you who are seeing this for the first time, make sure you hit the subscribe button. For those of you returning, welcome back. Today we have an amazing guest who started out passively investing and over the last 5 years has accumulated 20 deals in real estate. He spends his time educating others on starting early because he felt like he started a little late, but you know what? It's never too late. Loves traveling, loves meeting new people. Nonetheless, I'd like to introduce you to Trevor Thompson, everyone. All right, Trevor, good morning. In our show, Life by Design, Trevor, we like to get to know you as someone who is doing business, of course. We'd like to get to know you a little bit more about your business, about your family, and then also about your legacy as well. Good morning. How are you doing this morning,
I'm
Trevor?
doing excellent. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk with you.
Oh, absolutely. So, Trevor, you are a investor that was passive that is now active.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about how you got started to even becoming an active or passive
Right.
investor. How did you even start that? Tell me a little bit
Yeah,
more.
so I was always interested in real estate, but very typical to how everybody feels. I was afraid of toilets, tenants, and trash. And I
Uh-huh.
always said, don't really have the time, don't really have the skill set, not going
Right.
to do it. About 25 years ago at a team meeting at work, they actually gave us a copy of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And
Oh,
I
wow.
read it, and it opened my mind to a new way to look at it. But
Right.
again, I don't have time, I can't do it. And I just kept working and working and working, not even, thinking about it. And then our company got bought out, so that was a financial moment for me. So I said, well, I no longer have the financial excuse. So I started educating myself about passive investing and then started investing in real estate passively. It was about 5 years ago. And since then, I'm passive investor in 20 deals. So went from 0 to 20 pretty quickly.
Wow, 20 deals. That is very impressive. How did you build the portfolio of 20 deals? How,
Yeah,
how,
so a
how did
lot
that
of it
happen?
was relationships. So the first few investments I made were through my mentor program, and then I started looking out and looking further away and connecting with more people. And then a lot of my investments were relationship based because I wanted to have a relationship with someone. So even though 20 sounds like an impressive number, I was able to do it because I knew these people and got permission to come in at less than minimum because I wanted to be there. So one deal, the minimum was 50, but I only had 25 in my IRA, self-directed IRA. So I said, could I please come in? And I was fortunate that I didn't mess with their numbers. And when I mean that, they're only allowed 35 certain people in the deal that are unaccredited. Well, I was accredited, so I didn't change anything. So for them to accept me into the deal, and it was always with the premise if the
Uh-huh.
deal was if someone else was going to put a bigger amount, I might lose my spot.
Right, right. Now, what excited you about real estate initially, after
Yes.
reading Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Yeah, so really the fact about making passive income, right? I really never thought about it. Any money I had was in my 401k, was in the stock market, just like everybody does. And to be honest, I had no idea what it was doing. I had no idea what my fees were. I had really no tax advantages, just all these different things. And I just started to educate myself. And so purely on the financial numbers, right? The fact that leverage, which is one thing that's brought out in the book, leverage really increases your earning power. Depreciation reduces your tax base. And so I started adding all these things up and said, okay, this is way more powerful than I anticipated.
Yeah,
Um, and so then I started to really see, and I started to divest, not quickly enough. So for example, when the big hit in 2020 with COVID in the stock market, I still had too much money in there, and took a big hit, just like a lot of people recently just did. And it's
right.
it's challenging to pull your money out after a big hit to try to refocus, and I pulled most of it out, and now it's pretty much all out. So,
Wow, that's exciting.
yeah.
I was just talking to another doctor yesterday, and he says, well, Alex, I don't want to be over leveraged. I'm 64 years old, leveraging myself. I just want to keep everything cash. What is your thought process in that, and how do you break someone through that barrier?
Yeah, so again, it's not really their leverage, right? The sponsors are the ones that are getting the loan, are responsible for the leverage. A lot of people don't understand as a passive investor, the only thing that is at risk for you is your initial capital. So everybody needs to understand that that initial capital is at risk, but a very small risk in related to so many things, right? If you think about it, my whole life period, there's only been sort of one massive adjustment, back in, and it just hasn't happened. And investing in real assets has that power. And of course, with high inflation, your cash is losing money every day. It's worth a lot less. And
Every
another
day.
factor, even though the person is at their that little older age, when you really see the power of compounding your money. So if you were to put $100,000 and double it in 5 years, it's 200,000. Put it in
Mhm.
for another 5 years, it's 400,000. Put it in for another 5 years, it's 800,000. Put it in for another 5 years, it's 1.6 million.
Yeah,
Your cash in your bank has no hope of doing that. In fact, it's going backwards. And so even at my age, I'm in my 60s now, and I started investing in my late 50s. Wish I had started earlier. My number one big advice, because once you really understand this compounding effect of your money, it's super powerful for creating wealth.
right. Now, when you found out about Rich Dad Poor Dad, you said you had a lot of your money in 401k. Tell me how you felt when you found out, oh my gosh, this whole time I've been doing it the wrong way. And then
Yeah,
what do you do now to try to educate other people?
yeah. So of course, when I realized that there was nothing I could do about it, our work,
Right.
you put it into their plan that you had no options. It wasn't until I lost my job that I started to have options, and I was able to move it into a self-directed IRA. So it's something that it just wasn't possible for me to
Hmm.
be able to do. And of course, now I realize it's very possible. And a lot of people don't realize, you've got this money sitting there. So if you have some sitting, maybe not in your current employer, but from a past, you can convert that over to self-directed IRA, 401k. There's lots of different ways and places that will do that for you. And then that allows you to invest in what's called alternative assets, of which one of the most powerful classes is real estate, because you get all of those benefits.
Wow, that is so powerful. I don't know how many people, I wonder, who
Very
are
few.
sitting, right? Who are sitting on this IRA, who doesn't know.
Yeah,
There's probably trillions and trillions of dollars out there.
there is absolutely.
Right, right. What gets
And
exciting? Oh,
oddly
go ahead.
enough, there's even quite a bit in the system that's not invested. Someone told me that there's a lot of money sitting in the sidelines because, again, there's still they made the move to put it there, but they're sort of fear stricken of what to do with it now that it's there.
Right, 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 right. What overall every morning, what excites you to get up and do this type of work, Trevor?
Yeah, so making communities better for people to live, right? So in what we do what's called a value add apartment complex. So we take an underperforming, mismanaged apartment complex,
Hmm.
we spend some money, we fix it up. Yes, we are increasing the rents, but we're making it a much better, a much safer place to live. My goal is that my tenants would say I'm coming home or come to my home, not to my apartment, where they would feel it's a home. And a lot of people aren't buying houses anymore, so this is their home, and I want them to feel that way. I also want the people that work there to feel empowered to take care of their tenants. A lot of times there's a battle between the landlord and the tenants, and I don't
Mm,
want to see that. I want to see a place where we help them and we deliver everything we promise them and manage their expectations. And then the third one is to bring other people along for the journey with me. I set a goal. First, I had said I'm going to have 100 people, and then I started thinking about my buddy Grant Cardone there, and I went, that's going to 1,000 people. I'm going to 10x it.
Yeah, I saw that
But
hat back there.
well, and I think there'll be a compounding effect to it, right? So if I get someone else and then they refer someone else and then they refer someone else, understand the power because a lot of people do remind their friends about it or educate their friends about it,
Right.
especially if they start to see the benefits of it.
I'm with you, man. I got the bracelet right here.
Yep, 10x Growth Con. I did the one in Vegas.
There you go. There you go. You going this next year?
I haven't decided yet.
Oh, I'll be there. It's in
Okay.
Vegas again at the MGM, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about the people that you're working with, that is on your team, your core team of people.
Yeah.
Tell me a
So
little bit more about the relationship you have with them.
Yeah, so the first team member that I got was she's a property manager and she's been switching from being just a property sounds to me a property manager to a general partner owning her own deals. And
Hmm.
she started helping me very early, helping me with my looking at my underwriting, look at my rent assumptions, and because it's really valuable to get someone who's actually in the marketplace doing this to verify your assumptions. And we
Right.
started looking for deals together, and she got a deal, but I wasn't a good fit on that deal, and I understand there was no need for me. And then, she texted me and said, "Hey, I got a deal. You want to get in?" And I went, "Absolutely." And then we started talking, and we said, "Okay, we need someone else to round out our skill set. Her and I are too much alike. We need a third person that's what I'm going to call the analytical person." And the person that's going to sit back and think about it, do the underwriting, take care of the financial things. And so we brought a third partner on, and then we added two more partners for raising money for the deal. And
Wow.
they've been invaluable. They have more experience than all of us, and they brought a lot of value to our team, and hope to do many deals with them.
Now, a lot of early investors, they are struggling to find their core team.
Yes.
How did you build the relationship? Tell me about some golden nuggets here, the steps on what you've done to build these
You know,
relationships.
The main thing is to never give up because I actually 2 years been working on deals, enjoying different deals, and they didn't happen for various reasons. So I spent a lot of energy, and I looked for people that were complementary to my skill sets, not complementary. They had the opposite skill sets, so that I can't do this, so I need somebody that can do that. But it was all with spending time with these people, getting to know them, very important because business relationship can be very stressful, and you want to make sure you're on a deal with people that have the same values as you. But
Right.
before I joined, I actually sent, "Here's my values. Can you agree with my values? Is that something you're interested in?" And thank goodness they all did.
That is so huge. That is so huge. Do you get let's switch over to family. Does your family get involved in real estate as well? Do you get them involved or are you just doing it on your own?
Absolutely. No one think they think I'm all crazy, and I'm doing this all by myself.
Yeah, I mean, well, a lot of entrepreneurs, family support is not always there, but that's why we have each other,
Yeah.
right? We got to be the crazy ones swimming upstream. We're like the salmon during the salmon run. Like everyone's
Yes.
going that way. Why are you guys going this way? You guys crazy? There's bears and there's,
It's so
all
true.
these. Yeah, yeah. How do you keep a balance? You're obviously finding deals and building relationships, working all the time. How do you find a balance with time between your business, family, and also maybe taking care of your health?
Yeah. So I mostly, unfortunately, have lived most of my life out of balance.
Uh-huh.
And anytime there was a 360 done with me when I worked at work or when I did everything, everybody said, "Trevor, you need to take some time for yourself. You need to
Yeah.
wind down." And I'm a very obsessive personality, and I just get hooked in it. And some days I miss lunch, I miss doing different things just because I'm sitting here and the day just gets by. But try to always carve out important moments. Okay, so
Hmm.
making sure that, my kids are grown now, but when they were young, that I went to school interviews, I went to soccer games, I did things, so that, and it wasn't always possible because I traveled a lot in my other job, so I did miss a lot of things because I traveled.
Right. Do you have grandkids? Any
No,
grandchildren?
no grandkids,
Oh, okay. All right. Not there yet.
not there
Oh,
yet.
a lot of people tell me the moment they have grandchildren, it's like a lot more attention gets put onto them
It's
instead, you
definitely,
know?
definitely the case.
Yeah. So is this a long-term play for you, mainly being active in the real estate? Are you into anything else that earns you money along the lines as well?
Yes, so definitely real estate is the long-term play. I have a
Right.
couple of investments outside of real estate. One, to be honest, I made the investment and I thought after I made it, I thought, what an idiot I am. This is like the weirdest investment. It's a fund that does short-term lending for movies. But
Movies.
I'll tell you, they've been paying me 12% cash on cash every quarter. And then I thought, oh, COVID came along, man, I'm not gonna make any money for a while. And then they switched and they did some other things, like very creative group, and they still managed. It went down to 11%. Well, that I can live with that. So that's one thing that's completely out of real estate, but it's basically just there till I decide I gotta get it out and move it somewhere else that I control it, not someone else. But it's been very good to me. I still have a teeny bit of money in the stock market, but that's not really it. I didn't get caught up in the Bitcoin and all of those things. Although I have a joke. So my son wanted me to buy a Bitcoin, and I couldn't pay at the time $3,800 for something I didn't understand, and
Yeah.
so I did bought a little bit of Ethereum, and then of course it went up. And so I took double my money out, and I'm going to let it sit there till my 65th birthday. And I always tell people I'll have enough money to go to dinner or a trip around the world, because who knows where it's going to go, right?
You
Like,
don't know
like
where it's going to swing, right?
so, and I just said, I'm not going to touch it till 65, and I'm either going out for dinner or, and I already doubled my money, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Um, but it's super risky business, and I
Right.
just don't understand it, so I didn't get involved in it.
And recently, there's been people who've lost a lot of money
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
that.
I had lunch last Friday with a good friend of mine, and he said that $2 million they lost because they put it
Wow.
on leverage and
$2
then went
million.
down.
dollars.
Yes.
Holy moly, just poof, gone.
Yep.
I can't even fathom that. Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
way. That's crazy.
No,
You
it is
know,
crazy.
for people who are in real estate, because of the rising interest rates, do you have like a last tidbit on how, as a real estate investor, as a real estate professional, how are you hedging against the rising interest rates and some of the crazy things happening?
Yeah, so you definitely have to be cautious, but I really want to put it in perspective. We keep
Hmm.
saying, oh, we're out of balance. No, 2 and 3% and 4% interest rates is out of balance.
Right.
In my lifetime, my first mortgage was 16% interest rates. Okay,
Wow.
so it's crazy. It couldn't have bought a house now, and with back then the house was $34,000, if you can imagine,
Yeah.
and it was just crazy. But but yes, we're getting past the pendulum. So we were on. Let's say the pendulum's in the middle. We were way back here, and we've swung to here. So, but it feels vast, and it is vast. So you have to be very careful. But you can get deals still that work. I think right now the sellers haven't adjusted enough on the price. Every time we look at a deal and try to make an offer, we can't come to an agreement because the interest rate definitely does affect what happens.
Right, right. That's what everyone's telling me. There's more deals
Yeah,
being retraded, not going through, or in
yeah,
the middle of the deal where someone comes back, the mortgage broker comes back and says, well, we underwrote at 5%, now it's at 6.75,
yeah.
right? And the
Yeah,
whole
and
deal
I've
doesn't
had
work
friends,
anymore.
they bought a rate cap, and their rate cap was $27,000 a deal a year ago. A rate cap was $200,000.
Wow.
17,000 to $200,000 in theory for the same thing because the risk is higher.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Trevor, as we end this call, I always like to ask, a question is if you were to give advice to your younger self, think back to, when you could have started investing, right? What would you tell yourself? Or someone who's starting in your shoes, maybe in the same line of work as you did
Yeah.
before. What are three things? If you say three things, whether it's in business, family, or legacy, what are three things that you'll tell yourself?
Yeah, so the number one is I wish I had bought real estate earlier. The thing saying don't wait to buy real estate and wait. When I sort of sit back and
Mm,
look back at where I would be today would be significantly different because of the compound effect I talked about earlier. So I would definitely switch that, earlier and start doing it earlier. And stop making the excuses and procrastinating and, I would have definitely advised someone to do that. The second one is, you asked the question, and I did say I'm out of balance, and I've been out of balance my whole life. It would be to learn that balance a little earlier, so it was easier to adjust. Just balancing out the time for family and self, and taking care of yourself. But when you get to be my age, you really wish you'd taken care of yourself better in your 30s and 40s, because it makes a significant difference in your life.
how would
And
you have taken better care of yourself, Trevor?
just I always say if I kept all the weight off I lost, I wouldn't be here. I'm a roller coaster, up 30 pounds, down 30 pounds, up 30 pounds, down 30 pounds. My whole life has been up 30 pounds, down 30 pounds. And if I'd just stayed at that down 30 pounds the whole time, I always say if you added it all up through my lifetime, I wouldn't be here. It's just because I'd be disappeared. And it's all basically with some discipline around eating and some exercise. It's not
Mm,
complicated, but once you stop doing it, it's hard to get going again. And the older
mm.
you get, it's harder to get going. And I notice it takes forever to have an impact. When I was young, I could go to the gym and work out really crazy and eat better, and I see a significant difference. Now I go there and I just hurt.
And what's the third thing that you will say to yourself?
Yeah, so the third thing is even though I did a lot of it, I wish I'd have done more giving myself to others.
Mm,
You tend to be selfish and only thinking about yourself. And while I worked hard to mentor people at work and do different things, I didn't go outside of my spectrum of influence to influence other people. And I wish I had done that. I have friends that, they would just see things and they would react to them. And, I always was generous and kind in my own circle, but I never reached out of it. And I wish I'd have done that. And I
wow.
plan to
Well,
do that now.
see, you're doing it right now. You are doing it right now, Trevor. Now, if someone wants to reach out to you, um, how would they do that? And what's the best way? How do they approach you? 'Cause sometimes I talk to real estate investors who are newer, and they say, "Oh, some of the guys who are more seasoned, I just don't know how to approach them."
Yeah.
Like how would someone reach out to you, Trevor?
Yeah, so the easiest way is to reach out to me on LinkedIn. So K Trevor Thompson. And it's often nice if your bio says something about business or real estate, I often accept. I'm a little more selective on Facebook, because Facebook I keep a little more personal. So and just pop something in the notes saying, hey, I saw you on a podcast, on Alex's podcast, whatever it is, and then start a conversation. I'm more than happy. And I actually host a lot of educational events, and I'd like people to come and learn. That's most important. I wish I was connected to people that could have taught me these things. And then my website is niagara-investments.com. And then my email is very simply KTT, my initials, at niagara-investments.com. I've also got a YouTube page where I post some education on as well. I've been watching some of the things you've been making, and I sent it to my VA and said, I want to look better. Alex looks great.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, if your VA needs any help, have them reach out. So there you have it, everyone. Trevor, who was working a full-time job, investing in 401k IRAs, to passive investing, to now active investing and building a phenomenal team, and now reaching out to help others. Make sure you reach out to Trevor. Trevor, thank you so much for being on this podcast, buddy.
Thank you. It was awesome. I enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
have a great day.
Hey, if you liked this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell below. See you next time.